Last year, sometimes some right-wing influencers and content creators in independent media got called out for taking money from the Russians. Yeah, they had their hands open. They were taking rubles, I don't know, whatever money they use in Russia, they were taking money from the Russians. And they were reporting their media a certain kind of way. And I don't know. It was people like Benny Johnson, and Tim Pool, and I don't even know what happened to that. What happened to that? Anything happen? Nah, they just kept on taking money. So it's all these conservative white guys taking money on that side. Well, guess what? It appears Democrats were doing the same thing. Democrats were doing it, and even one of your favorite people, Roland Martin, looks like he's on the take. I know you're surprised, right? Not Roland. Roland would be taking money, yeah, from like Democratic leaning, liberal leaning, yeah. Check it out.
David Pakman has been exposed working with the Chorus Project, which has been paying him $8,000 a month.
It's in the second paragraph. It mandated extensive secrecy about disclosing their payments and had restrictions on what sort of political content creators could produce. That means they're dictating your content directly in the contract.
David Pakman has been scrambling, trying to respond. He came out with a video where he tries to justify everything.
Since this article came out, I've heard from a bunch of you. David, did you sell out? David is the DNC telling you what to say. How could you do this to us?
But where it gets really interesting is that the following day, he openly admits that he has been working directly for politicians. The hypocrisy here is staggering.
All right, I was not even going to talk about this.
Of course you weren't. You were getting paid not to talk about it.
I was named in an article in Wired yesterday, and the article is about a so-called dark money group.
It's not supposedly dark money group. It is. Had this article not come out, do you think David Pakman would have ever revealed this?
And I was not even going to give this the time of day.
Yeah, right. This is one of the biggest mistakes, if not the biggest mistake he's ever made.
Other creators, like a Twitch streamer named Hassan Piker, were covering this in ways that don't reflect the reality of the situation and are perpetuating falsehoods about what is and isn't going on.
Okay, tell us what is false.
Now, the most important thing to say is that the idea behind this group is exactly what I've been advocating for years.
David Pakman would probably claim that he wants to get money out of politics. Then he turns around and engages in exactly that, claiming this is what he wants to happen.
It's, for years I've been saying, the left needs to organize independent media in the way that
For years he's been saying the left needs to pay me to get their message out and to give me guidelines on what to report on. Yeah, that's what I've been saying. I've been saying that. Boy, these people are dirty, John.
Right has been doing.
Yeah, the problem is that the right has not been doing it this way. There is no centralized network on YouTube. It's messy because it is organic. Feuds erupt because there's not agreements preventing us from talking about what we want to talk about.
The left needs to fund independent creators the way that the right does. The right has won even arguably presidential elections.
Not if they tell you what to say, dumbass. Not if there's any restrictions on what you report. None. That is contract for hire, which is the exact opposite of what you want independent media to do. Man, I can't believe I ever, like this guy, me and him have never been friends. We've never been cool. We never worked together on a single thing. I know people that have worked with him. There's some black people that work with David Pakman who they're supposed to be revolutionary. They're big time progressives. Come on, Johnson, this is...
Because they're organized with regard to online and independent media. They're killing us. We've been so behind.
But it works because it's decentralized.
And this kind of support for creators is exactly what I've been advocating for.
You said that a couple times. Yeah, so there are people there. Let's see if they get to any visuals here, because he roasts the hell out of David Pakman. And David Pakman, he's wearing a different shirt. Let's see if he says anything different.
He admits that he has been working directly for politicians.
I'm not going to name names here. But I do think it's important to tell you the story. There is an elected official, House or Senate, who we have been in touch with on the show off and on over the years. And this individual's challengers have been reaching out to me. I would like your endorsement, or at minimum, I would like to be on your show.
So he tries to call up the politician to tell him that, hey man, your competitors want to come on my show. How would you like me to respond to this?
So I reach out to the office of this elected official and I say, hey, just a reminder, David Pakman, you've done the show off and on over the years. We have a relationship. I am trying to get in touch to figure out what is going on, and I want to hear it from you before making any decisions about our coverage so that I ensure that our coverage is calibrated to, is this an open seat?
Listen to this shit. Just the fact he has to talk about it, we know his ass is in hot water. Before we go any further, let me let you know the Tim Black Wolfpack is dedicated, committed, 10 toes down to reporting the truth, unbiased, and not working for any political party. If that sounds good to you, go to jointimblack.com, become a member of the Tim Black Wolfpack. Dirty business, dirty business, dirty business. And these guys were talking about the right wing doing it. The right wing doing the same thing that you're doing. Whenever you think the Democrats are calling out Republicans, you should always check, because you will find that they have already done with that, whatever they're accusing Republicans of doing. Democrats have already done it. They've probably been under the radar. They probably haven't been caught, but you need to look. Dr. Jared Ball and I have had a conversation or two, back and forth a little bit. He put out a clip going at Roland Martin. I didn't know they had beef. That's crazy. You know, me and Jared Ball had a disagreement. I have no beef with him, but it appears there's some bad blood or some negative situations between Dr. Jared Ball and Roland Martin and Roland Martin's people. Jared Ball, you can find him on YouTube. I mix what I like. Here goes his clip.
Liberal cap on any potential black revolutionary political movement. From Wired magazine, a dark money group is secretly funding high-profile Democratic influencers. An initiative aimed at boosting Democrats online offers influencers up to $8,000 a month to push the party line. All they have to do is keep it secret and agree to restrictions on their content. Roland Martin is not mentioned specifically in this article, though I'll show you where he overlaps and comes into this. And I have no overt evidence that he has, how much he has taken and what he has actually signed on to do, although what I'll show you speaks to suggests that there is something there. But I thought about this again obviously when we all ever have these discussions about what to do electorally, the pushback we get from Roland Martin and his crew.
It's kind of hard to follow Dr. Ball, man. He goes like one way, he zigs, goes about 2 feet, zags, goes 3 feet, zags, zigs, does the running man, then does the wop, then he starts breakdancing, then he does a backspin, then he goes into the waltz. But it appears, he said he doesn't have receipts on Roland, but that Roland is a part of the shenanigans. Let's continue.
And those who are influenced by that argument, the personal attack is too strong a word, but the personal criticism, inappropriate criticism that I got from Greg Carr all makes more sense or takes on a different context or could be considered differently in light of stories like this. It makes more sense that they would be influenced in that direction at best, at minimum. So let's just look at a little bit of this story here. As Taylor Lorenz writes, in a private group chat in June, dozens of Democratic political influencers discussed whether to take advantage of an enticing opportunity. They were being offered $8,000 per month to take part in a secretive program aimed at bolstering Democratic messaging on the internet.
Guys, this was open door policy. It's a group chat. And they're all talking about, hey man, any of us can join up and get $8,000 a month. Add it to whatever we're already making. Just throw that on top. I mean, a lot of people would take that deal. But what's the fine print? What do you have to do?
The deal from Chorus, a nonprofit arm of and liberal influencer marketing platform. And as we'll talk a little bit about, an extension of this 1630 funding project, mandated extensive secrecy and had restrictions on what sort of political content the creator could produce.
Message.
So anyway, so this is in part how the dark money is meant to be used. This is Brian Tyler Cohen here. I don't know these three folks, and you see some more of the influencers here, but there's not much info here. So you can't really, this is a nonprofit incubator learning community for pro-democracy creators. We host weekly technical trainings, but there's not much in terms of the ownership of this beyond it being this guy, and as I said, his co-founder. And then where does the money come from? It's not entirely clear to me yet, at least, but part of it is Act Blue, which I'll show you something here.
30 more
Watch
seconds.
the video. I'll leave the link when. But I've basically gone over the headlines as far as I was concerned about what the story is about, and then there's a lot of other details. But you see here's Roland Martin. Yes, and Mary W., you're right. That I would argue that you're right, at least, that a lot of this has to do with the dark money being used to suppress pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel content. But I think
So part of what Ball's saying is that he believes that some of Roland Martin's and his group's pushback has to do with their affiliation with these organizations, these big money people, whoever these big money people are, with this Course Network and others, to suppress truly revolutionary type of politics. So they're kind of like getting paid to possibly, allegedly getting paid to suppress some radical people that have different thoughts about how politics is supposed to work. And this may influence their content. And if Roland's not a part of this network, why is his picture on this network? If Roland's not taking money from this network, why is he there? He's not in the original article, but he's on their website. If it looked like an op, it's probably an op. Just operate as if these people are ops. They're your opposition. We all know Roland is not for supporting truly independent thought. He's the Democratic Party shield, as in that's his team. That's where he gets his money from. You know, if you go into a department store, if you go into a Best Buy, you see a person in the Best Buy uniform, he's an agent of that company. Doesn't mean he's not a good person. Doesn't mean he can't dance really well. Doesn't mean he doesn't like the sheikies. It just means that's where he works at. That's where his bread is buttered. That's where he picks up his paycheck. That's the way I look at Roland Martin. And he's not going to go against the guidelines of the corporation. And in this case, it's the DNC. It's the DCCC. That's Roland Martin in a nutshell. Now, my differences with a person like a Dr. Ball, I've already decided those, right? Do I think we had those differences because of where he's getting money? I don't know the pressures he has from Morgan State University where he gets his paycheck. At least I think that's the way it works. Last time I checked, he's getting a paycheck too. So when people are getting paychecks from entities, they are beholden to them. Wow. Crazy concept, right? And that goes for everybody in media that you see. Everybody on TV that you watch, if they're on cable news, they get a paycheck. Van Lathan's getting a check. He's got the ring. It's not his. Dr. Jason Johnson, Tiffany Cross. When she appears on CNN, check. Angela Rye, check. Charlamagne the God, check. These people, they have their own thing going, but they're also connected to these other entities. You can't tell me that if you're picking up X amount of dollars from an entity, that doesn't have any influence on what you cover. I just told you. I supported Dr. West in 2024. My relationship with him influenced me because that's my guy. I didn't know he was going to run. We didn't have any conversations about that. I didn't get any compensation. People reached out to me and they were like, Tim, why aren't you charging Cornel West? People reached out to me. They were like, I was messing up the game because I was helping Dr. West without collecting money from him. They thought I was being bogus because I wasn't charging him. I'm like, the guy doesn't, like, what am I going to charge him? I support what he's doing. But see, that's the dirtiness of this business. They think if you support someone, they got to be paying you. That's not how I roll. If you got a good topic, a good issue, a cause that I support, I will support it if I choose to support it. You don't have to pay me to support your soup kitchen. You don't have to pay me to support your Little League club or your camp for boys learning how to take care of themselves, or camp for young women leaving bad relationships, or whatever, housing initiative. You don't have to pay me. People didn't pay me to come on my show. Nobody's ever come on my show has ever had to pay me to come on my show. Nor have I had to pay them. So I guess I've been tripping this whole time. But folks, this ain't about me. This is about independent media. This is about the dark money that's out there. I'm not telling you who to like, who to trust. Just know, behind the scenes, there's money changing hands. And just know, it's possible that the people that you're listening to, the people that you're frequenting, that they have business ties that may influence their content. David Pakman, one of the progressives, is saying, it's a good thing we take money. It's good that we report what they want us to report so we can help beat the Republicans. So basically, he's an employee. He's a work for hire, which means He's not independent anymore. That's fine. Just tell your people, you're not independent. You take money from this organization, and they have criteria on what you can say. Once you do that, to me, you ain't no longer a journalist. You are a employee. I don't look at journalists, independent journalists, as people that take money, that has a boss that tells them what they can talk about and what they can't talk about. And for Dr. Ball, they heavy talking about Palestinians. They're heavy talking about Gaza. They're heavy talking about genocide. So that's a huge issue for them, and they've been vocal about it. And they feel that these people have been taking money from entities that tell them they can't talk about it. And worse than that, maybe those entities told them to combat it. Maybe those entities told them to talk down on it. Same thing with some of our content. Maybe some of the content, when we talk about reparations, when we talk about what are we getting for our vote, when we talk about black people demanding something for their vote, maybe some of the people that oppose us are being paid to oppose us. It is what it is. Now would be a good time for everybody to become a member of the Tim Black Wolfpack. As long as you guys support what I do, this ain't even a question. I don't expect to become multi-millionaire doing this shit. This is not why I do it. I do it because when I was coming up, when I was a kid, I wanted to be into journalism. I wanted to have my own radio show, and I just couldn't find that gig. So I ended up going into computers. I told this story before. This is the career I started off in, but it didn't pay enough to take care of family with kids and a wife. So I went into computers, and I always said one day if I'm lucky, I would get back into it. And then came the internet. So for me, this is just me doing what I want to do. It just so happens there are issues that I really care about. If you like this content, if you appreciate it, if you find it useful and valuable, go to jointimberlake.com, become a member of this show, become a VIP. You keep me independent, starting at only $5 a week. Find us on Patreon at Tim's Take Live, or join us here on YouTube.
The Tim Black Show streams Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wolfpack.